Hey guys, Atomic Phil here, and we just got some exciting news. The newest 7-star tier raid battle will be a ghost type Typhlosion. This is really big news, as many people were speculating that Typhlosion would be next, since we already got Samurott and Decidueye. But today I'll be talking about how this edition supports some theories I have, as well as go over some deeper aspects of the game, as well as the region of Paldea. So let's get into it. So guys, I have a ton of information on this topic and some of my theories, and I have to write it down in note form just to make everything a little bit more cohesive. So I'll be reading off my notes as we go over this video. Starting off, we are definitely overdue for a new updated DLC trailer, and I'm sure the Pokemon Company is just waiting for the perfect time to release it. If I was to guess, we would probably get it at the beginning of summer, like end of May, early June time, and then we'll probably get sprinkles of information throughout the summer leading up to part 1 of the DLC. So, jumping into the DLC, we're going to be traveling to the land of Kitakami, which is presumed to be the grayed out section seen on the Paldea map. I know many people are hoping that we will be able to go to Kalos, and that there still will be a possibility given that the region is practically the most southern part of France, or Kalos. However, as I am not against this, I do not think we'll be visiting that region anytime soon. For one, the game's mechanics would become confusing if Mega Evolution was brought in, and I believe many fans would be upset if they opened the region up but did not include Mega Evolution. Secondly, I have done constant research throughout the game, and I have come to the conclusion that Paldea has closer ties to the Galar region rather than Kalos. Since the game has been out, I have tried to nitpick at everything I could find to solve the mysteries of Paldea, and I have found many hints in the games that point towards Galar, some obvious and some easy to overlook. The biggest hint would be the Academy Library. There's a book there that states some researchers were present in Galar when the Caparajah destroyed the mural and revealed the 2 statues of the legendary heroes Zamazenta and Zacian. The second biggest hint is the Pokemon language seen and used in Paldea is the same language used in the Galar region. Which brings me to my biggest theory that the Pokemon language within the game is important and can be deciphered. We all know Game Freak likes to hide riddles and puzzles within the game, and I believe this language plays a huge role in getting hints. Putting a pin in that for now, another hint at the Galar region ties is that in the town of Artizon you can find a poster with a giant Sunflora, which looks very different, which can be perceived as a Gigantamax Sunflora form. As well as if you compare Pokemon who are in the Paldea's main dex, you will find that there are 39 total Galar Pokemon in the Paldea main dex plus 1 Meowth. There are only 27 total Kalos Pokemon in the Paldea main dex. Out of those 27, 18 total Kalos Pokemon also lived in the Galar region. Out of those 18, 9 of those were in the main dex of the Galar region. So there are a total of 48 Galar native Pokemon living in the Paldea region. All these facts support some influence or possible game lore that Galar may play a bigger role in Paldea. Even so, it is very hard to dismiss that Kalos and the 3rd legendary Zygarde do not have some influence in this region. After all, Roaring Moon has a direct reference to Mega Evolution and Kalos, and Zygarde is known for having hexagons as well as being the protector of the ecosystem. With drastic changes happening to the environment and balance of the ecosystem in Paldea, I'm sure Zygarde is alerted in some way. Nonetheless, take it with a grain of salt. Going back to the language of Paldea, it is very in your face and more obvious to see compared to Sword and Shield. The game has given several words that pop up and are easily deciphered. For example, gym. It is located on the building and is also shown in the loading screen when you enter any Pokemon gym. Another example is the Academy/School. This is shown on the loading screen when you enter school as well as when you play any Terra Raid battles. The final example is the Scarlet and Violet book. We can clearly see the language used to spell the word Area Zero. This also shows up in the Area Zero cartograph entry, as well as on the mysterious plate in the caves. All these obvious hints have led me to believe that the language is meant to be deciphered. I have spent many days trying to decode the language, and most of the words seem to be gibberish and nonsensical. But there are certain words that I have been able to translate, like this ad is Monster Ball, and the Pokemon Center word for center. There is no rhyme or reason to why some words are easily decipherable and why others are not. I think it's mostly for placeholder reasons, but I do see that they put a lot of effort to showcase it everywhere. Some differences I noticed which I found interesting is when we head over to Zero Labs, on the building the name is different from the names located on the floor, as we can see. My guess is the name on the building is the company name and the name on the floor is for the individual lab. The biggest takeaway from the importance of the language is that the book shows a depiction of the third legendary disc Pokemon and its name written. With the notes we find in Zero Lab 3 that blinks out their name with exactly 6 blocks confirms that the name written is correct and Game Freak is giving us hints to decipher it. I would not put it past them for making it difficult, as many fans were stating that Pokemon Sword and Shield was too easy. To recap, the efforts I have made at deciphering language has led to many words being gibberish and no clear key to follow, as certain symbols are interpreted as different letters in different words. If there is a possible chance, I think the third legendary Pokemon will end with the letter R, and that means it can end in an AR, ER, OR, IR, UR, or YR. This is just my take on what I think it may be, and I want to say in confidence that since we see the same letters interpreted in the book for area, I can imply the last letter would also be translated as an R, since it was written in the same book by the same person. Moving on to Typhlosion, the newest 7-star raid is a Ghost Terror type, which completes the Hisuian starter trio, which I think is a major hint to Hisuian Pokemon appearing in the Paldea region. Typhlosion is the only starter of the three with its Terror type the same as its Hisui counterpart. I've had a theory for a long time that we would possibly be able to travel back in time to ancient Paldea, a few hundred years ago, and be able to encounter Hisui Pokemon. I find this very likely to happen as the game is very rich in region history and makes an effort to notate specific years of events or objects, like the Academy being 805 years old, and 200 years ago Heath explored Area 0. You can also see in the classroom a Hisuian Pokeball is displayed on the board, which also shows Hisui has influence and a link to the modern Paldea. Another major thing to be aware of is that all Pokemon featured in the Legend of Arceus, with the exceptions of Legendary, appear within the game and Paldea's main deck. Now I know they could have been imported for ease of programming since Legends were released before Scarlet and Violet, but I feel like it would be too much of a coincidence that the complete Hisuian dex was imported in the game and not other Pokemon from different regions or generations. After all, with the DLC, there are going to be 230 added Pokemon to the game, and they were all probably suitable options. But with the addition of Pokemon Home, we are expected to have some home transferability of Hisuian Pokemon to Scarlet and Violet. But my question would be, how would others get these variants if they did not purchase the game? Scarlet and Violet have already introduced a time machine in the main story, and it doesn't seem too far-fetched to say that we would be able to use the time machine again. Possibly in a second DLC expansion, Part 3 and Part 4. Like I said in my last video, this game has a ton of potential and a ton of loose ends that need to be addressed. I'll be doing a more in-depth video on Hisui and the time travel theory to address all the loose ends and the lore within the game. But there's no doubt in my mind that we will be getting a second DLC expansion with possible announcements on Pokemon Day 2024. However, that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts and theories on this, and good luck on that 7-star raid, guys. See ya.